Can you tell me what number 2 said? All right. The first thing you need to do is eliminate the denominator. Since we have an angle measure, we got to get rid of the h. The h is being divided, so we're going to multiply both sides by h. So now we've got h times cosine 113, and that is equal to 7. How do we disconnect multiply? Divide. So we're going to divide by cosine 113, and now you've got to do that division. Kayla and Bree, were you successful in your calculators? Okay. So I don't know what that is, but you're going to do 7 divided by and then cosine 113. Was my answer right or wrong? Number 2. Was it right? Next. The good news is you're going to do equations. Pretty much this whole unit are these equations. Except for the 30, 60, 90, 45, 45, 90, which is also on the test. Any other questions? I will, yes ma'am. All right, I'm going to need a book. Can you tell me what the triangle looked like or its labels? You can get my book. Thank you, Carlin. Isn't that one cool book holder?
Yeah, that's really cool.
All right. Are we on 8-3? Number 11? Number 12. All right. So I didn't draw my triangle quite the same orientation, but I can tell you the right angle is K. We've got L, and we've got M. So the hypotenuse is 9, Km is 7, and this is 4 square root of 2. What did they want? It's all about angle M. So if it's all about angle M, before I look at any ratio, I know that this is opposite, this leg is adjacent, and this is your hypotenuse. So if you want sine M, that's going to be opposite over hypotenuse. If you want cosine M, that's going to be adjacent over hypotenuse. And if you want tan M, that is going to be opposite over adjacent. So it just had 4 square root of 2, which made it look ugly, but other than that, same thing. Other questions? So if you wanted to solve one of these, did they want us to solve these? No. But if they did, let me start with tan M. We know tan M is equal to 4 square root of 2 over 7. Are you the backwards one?
Yeah.
So this is the work I need to see. I need to see that you tan inverse. Now, listen carefully. Where did I put tan inverse? Did I put it on the left or to the right? Right, correct. If you put it here, I will mark off. Because if you do, let's say it was 7/8 and you do tan inverse, you will get a calculator error. This makes absolutely no sense. So what you're going to do is you're going to do 2. Then you probably have to do square root times 4 divided by 7, and then you can do second tan. She's got a backwards calculator. So your calculator can't do square root first, then 2. You got to do the 2, then the square root. Okay? I don't know what the EOC handhelds are going to be that we learned last Monday. I don't know what they're backwards or forwards. It's a Casio, and some people were concerned that they'd be backwards. But I'll let you know beforehand. And if they are, then the EOC calculator might be the best bet. On here or on the worksheet? Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Tommy. All right. Number 4. Can you tell me what it said, Becky? Who has 4? Who can tell me what 4 said? Uh-huh. Okay. Now, we don't know the angle, so doing cosine, there's no key we can push. Does that make sense? So when you don't know the angle, that's when we have to do cosine inverse. And we're going to do cosine inverse. So cosine inverse of cosine releases the k. And now you're going to have to, if you have a forwards calculator, you're going to do second. Try this on your calculator. Second, then you're going to hit the cosine key, and then you're going to hit 4 divided by 9. Did it work? I might have a backwards one. All right, so what do we have? Second cosine. Maybe you need parentheses. Okay, you need to put the parentheses. Because what it's doing is it's trying to take the cosine inverse of 4, which doesn't exist. Okay? So anytime you have to do that, you're going to have to put your ratio in parentheses. Some calculators will automatically give you that parenthesis. Yours doesn't. Okay? Other questions? All right, so why don't we pass the homework to the center before I forget to collect it? So we've learned our ratios, we've learned the labeling conventions, we've learned how to solve these, and so now what we're going to do is we're going to solve a triangle. So when we solve a triangle, you are going to solve everything, give me everything that, all sides, all angles. Now, one option, which I used to do a long time ago, is I had kids do angle or answer boxes. Angle A equals, angle B equals, angle C equals, and then A equals, B equals, C equals. But as you can see, there's only a few missing. We know that angle C is 47. Agreed? What do we know angle A to be? How much? 90. We know, what is this? 15. That is little a. We know little a to be 15. So can we go ahead and find B? Eric, what work would I expect to see to find B? You know A is 90. You know C is 47. And it's a triangle. Okay. You have given me an answer. My question was, what work do you need to show? 90 plus 47 is equal to? And then what do? And we're going to say 180 minus 137. So that becomes 710. How about 43? So we know B is 43 degrees. All right. Do I need to see this work? Is everybody clear? You will be finding one angle. And actually, I think it's a bookwork. The book might only ask you to find one little tiny piece. Maybe it's a worksheet. I don't remember. I think it's a worksheet where you have to find just one piece and then you have to solve the whole triangle. We're going to solve the whole triangle. If you can solve the whole triangle, you can find everything. All right. So we've got all our angles. Now, we're going to focus on the angle they gave us right here, 47. So with respect to 47, do you all agree that no matter what, this is a hypotenuse? Okay. With respect to 47, this little c, is it opposite or adjacent? That means it's next to 47. It's going to be opposite. Now, this little b with respect to 47 is adjacent. So if I want you to find, let's write an equation for b. See, you're taking the book piece, right? and the equation piece, and we're putting it together. So what trig ratio? You have 15. This is the only number you have, so you must use a hypotenuse. If you want to find C, that's what we're focusing on. We have to use our 15. What ratio is opposite hypotenuse? And you're going to have a reference sheet to use. So you're going to say sine 47 is equal to opposite, which is C, over hypotenuse, which is 15. That's one equation you're going to solve. When I go to solve for B, it's adjacent with respect to 47. And again, we're going to use the number we've been given, which is the what? Hypotenuse. So which trig function, sine, cosine, tangent, is adjacent over hypotenuse? So we're going to do cosine of 47 is equal to adjacent, which is B, over hypotenuse, which is 15. My suggestion is that you have Friday's notes out because that's where you got those ratios, so you can refer to them. So now, do you see how this is 2 questions from yesterday's homework? All right, so Eric, what work needs to be shown to solve for sine? No, to solve for C. We're going to multiply both sides by 15. Those 15s are gone. Now you can get your calculator. And Jeff, I need 15 times sine 47. 10.973? 9703. So am I good to read, if I do that to the hundredths place, to do 97? Okay. So now we want to solve this one. Okay. One more time, Eric. What work do I need to see? So we're going to multiply both of these sides by 15. That cancels. So now I'm going to need, who has calculators? Okay, Devin, it's your turn. What is B going to be? Everybody get out the calculator. So if we finish our little answer box, B is 10.23 and C is 10.97. And this answer box where you have angle ABC, little a, little b, little c, helps you know if you've done everything. There's the B, and I'm going to highlight those things that I went to find to distinguish those from what I was given. Let's do another one.
So sine, cosine, and tangent are all defined sides?
The whole purpose of sine, cosine, and tangent is to find sides and angles of triangles. And they have to be right triangles. When you get into trig, you'll learn other little thingies, methods that you can use when there's not right triangles. Honors has to go further. They have to do law of sines and law of cosines. All right, we've got angle D, we've got little d, we've got little f. What else do we have in this picture? A little e, and an angle E, and an angle F. What do we already know? MJ, what do we know? Little e is 8, okay. What else do we know, Carlin? So angle E is 83. What else do we know, Caitlin? Great. So now, I like to remember that this is little e, this is little d, this is little f. Okay, so now what we're going to look at this time is it's all about 83. Okay, so how do we label these sides in terms of opposite, adjacent, hypotenuse? My suggestion is, where's the hypotenuse? Is it E, D, or F? F. F is the hypotenuse. With respect to 83, what is E? Opposite. With respect to 83, what is D? Adjacent. So that's the book work. So, Kayla Shipley, what do you want to solve for first? We need big D, little f. Little d. All right. So we're going to focus now our efforts on little d. Let me get a different highlighter. Where's little? This is little d. What number were we given? 8. And it's that given number and what we want to find, which is going to determine our trig ratio. So what trig ratio, Bree, involves opposite and adjacent? Look at your notes from Friday. Which one involves opposite and adjacent? Tan. So we're going to say tan 83 is equal to, who's opposite, Bree? And who's adjacent? D. All right, that sets up our equation. So Brittany, see, how do we solve this? So we multiply both sides times d.
And then it would be
Okay, so now how do we disconnect tan 83 from d? So now we've got 8 divided by tan 83. All right, and Harper has a calculator. She's going to tell us what this is. Oh, okay. Do you have your calculator, Trevor? Pardon? Trevor's going to tell us what this is. As Trevor gets close to that, we're going to ask Sydney what she wants to solve for next. Angle D. All right, and she's going to tell us how we're going to find angle D. It's going to be 173. Then what? Is 7. So D is very small. Did you get it? So that means that D is going to be 0.98. D is 7 degrees. Does it make sense that that's going to be a really tiny side? Okay. So, Brittany, what do you want to solve for? I guess we don't have much choice. F. So what trig? So we're going to focus on F now. Where's my F? Here's my little f. So we have to work with our hypotenuse and work with this 8, what we're given. That way we don't have a rounding error. What involves opposite and hypotenuse? Sine. So you're going to say sine of the angle, which is 83, equals, how's the ratio set up? All right. So how do we go about solving this? Becky? So we're going to multiply by f on both sides. So now I have f times sine 83. All right. Samantha, what are we going to do from here? Okay. So we're going to divide by our sine, and now Karen, will you give us our number? There you go. What do you think? The whole purpose for what we're doing is to solve right triangles, figure out sides and angles. Who does this a lot? Surveyors? Who has to do this a lot? Surveyors? When you survey land? UF has a survey program. I think they're the only ones in the state with a survey program. Who else? Architects, engineers. All right. So now, what have I not given you on this one? I have not given you angles. Right. So if we're going to make our angle A, angle B, angle C, our little answer column here, or whatever you want to call it. So do I have 2 big C's? Did I do it wrong? There's a big C and there's a big B. Yeah, this is what I'm going to do. I should have just moved those, you know. So now we got little a. We'll move little c up by big C. And now we've got little b. All right, so let's look at what we already know. What do we already know, Tommy? Okay, so angle A is 90. What else do we know? We know that they sum to 90. Do we know anything in this column? Okay, and BC is called little a because it's opposite angle A. What else? Little b equals 11 because 11's opposite. So this is little b, and this is going to be little c. All right, so what angle do you want to work with first? Nick, B or C? So we'll work with angle B. So everything now is going to be with respect to angle B. So with respect to angle B, who is opposite? Travis? 11 is opposite. Who's adjacent? 15 is adjacent and C is adjacent, but 15 special. What is 15? The hypotenuse. That, I would suggest we identify that one first. Who is adjacent then? All right. So if we want to solve for B, the only way we can find B is to use the two numbers we've been given, which is hypotenuse and opposite. That's going to determine our trig ratio. So, McKenna, what's our trig ratio? Opposite hypotenuse. So we're going to do, so we're working on B. So we're going to say sine B is equal to opposite, which is 11 over 15. Now, how do we solve for the angle? Remember how we solve for the angle? How do we rescue B from sine? What do we need to do? Sine inverse, and it must come from the right. So I move my 11/15 over. This rescues B, that simplifies. So now with your calculator, we need sine inverse of 11/15. Bree, you want to do this one? Second sine. 11 divided by 15, second sine. 6, so we'll do 167 or 17. Well, we're going to round to the hundreds, I guess. So this is going to be 47.17. How am I going to get angle C? Jennifer, if I know A and I know B, how do I get C? Right. So this is my angle C work. We're going to say 90 plus 47.17 is going to be 137.17, and we're going to subtract from what? All right. So we've got 137.17. I think it was Nick that said B plus C equals 90. You could have subtracted 47.17 from 90. Remember that when you do this, you're going to have to add zeros. So this becomes 79. That becomes, did you get it already? So 42.83. Okay. Do we need to find trig to find C? Or can we find C a different way? How do you find C a different way? I heard it. Pythagorean theorem. We would say, now we're not going to say a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Remember, it is what? Leg squared plus leg squared equals, and this is exactly why I teach it this way, is because you might get a triangle where the c is not the hypotenuse. So one leg is 11, the other leg is c that we do not know, and our hypotenuse is 15. 11 squared is 121. 15 squared is 225. And now we're going to subtract 121. So c squared is equal to 104. Now what do we have to do? And how many answers do we get when we square root? So c is going to equal plus or minus the square root of 104. And what is that going to be? Karen's got it. 10 point, square root of 104. Oh, I was going to go for a decimal. Can you get that to a decimal? 10.19? So C is 10.19. We're going to do another one, and you're going to try one. Maybe two. All right, we've got an angle D. We've got an angle E. And there is an angle F. We need little d. We need little e. And we need to find a little f. All right, so Caitlin, what do we know? Little d is 12. I'm going to label it as you go. Do that, okay? Little e is 7. And angle F is 90. All right, so what angle do you want to find first? Who haven't I called on? Carlin? I called on you. Hope, what angle do we want to find first? Okay, so we're going to focus on D. So I'm going to highlight D because everything is about D. Hope, where's the hypotenuse? Little e helps form the right angle. Little d helps form the right angle. Your hypotenuse will be opposite. Good, you've got the conventions of the lettering. So this is my hypotenuse. So who is opposite D? Yes. And who is adjacent or next to D? Yes. All right, so with that said, we're focusing here on D. So Leslie, what trig function? Now we have to use what we've been given. We've been given 7 and we've been given 12. That's opposite. I can't express how important it is to label your triangle. Because when you label the triangle and you look at what you're given, you see opposite, you see adjacent, it's real easy to pick up that trig function. What would that be? We need to use tan. So we're going to say tan of angle D is equal to, and how do I set up this ratio? Leslie? Right, because it's opposite over adjacent. All right, so I kind of wrote this kind of far apart. How do I rescue D, MJ? How do we get D disconnected from tan? All right, we're going to tan inverse this side. We're going to tan inverse from the left on that side. So this rescues D and we get D equals. I need to, Devin, can you tell me what this is? Okay, so we know D is 59.74. All right, Becky, how are we going to find E?
90 plus
Okay, is going to give us 149.74, then what? And when we do that, we're going to subtract, we're going to borrow from the 80, make that 79. That becomes 10. We're going to borrow from that, which makes that 9. So we're going to have 6203. How about 30.26? All right. So, Trevor, what's the easy way to find F? How do you set that up?
F equals, well, F squared equals 7 squared plus 1 squared.
So F squared equals 7 squared. Everybody knows that? Does everybody know 12 squared by chance? Mm-hmm. So this would be F squared is equal to 193. Does that look good? How do we undo a square? So we're going to square root both sides, and we get 2 answers on this side. We're going to choose the positive, and Leslie's going to tell us what that is. Mm-hmm. Do you have a backwards one? Uh-huh. What does it say? Want me to fix it? Come here. Let's see what it says on one. Okay, try it again. That's cube root.
No, okay. Just kidding.
Ren, what did you say she had to do? There you go. 13.89. You learned something today. That created issues on your homework, didn't it? No? All right. So it's time for you to try. There are 2 of them. See what we can do. And I think that's the end of today's notes. Yes. I might be able to do that. Yeah, we'll start with the first one. Better?